Achol Marial, thank you very much for your time to Africa Media Australia. Can you tell us what you know of the situation happening within the leadership of the South Sudanese Community Association in Victoria?
There's just been a change in leadership because people weren't happy with the way that the leadership was being run, and there was a lot of mismanagement of the association. So a new interim caretaker was elected, which is myself as the chairperson, and a couple of other executives were placed on board. But the chairperson, Ringmeyer, deputy chairperson, Awan Kwal, and Secretary General Deng Majak have been voted out with a vote of no confidence on the weekend.
All right, I suppose you're obviously aware that they are contesting this vote of no confidence and saying that it doesn't meet the constitutional requirements. What's your view on that?
That is not true. It does meet the constitutional requirements. Since this move has begun at least 2 months ago, the Constitution has been followed very carefully, and we tried to involve them on Saturday, the 11th of August, 2018, to be a part of the impeachment. Before he was to be impeached, he was going to be asked a couple of questions that were of concern, and was going to be given a chance to respond. But he has not attended. The chairperson, he has not attended, but instead he incited his supporters to come and disrupt the meeting. So for that reason, the meeting was cancelled and it was rescheduled the following day. But this time, they didn't ask where the meeting was being held, so we did not give them the address. But the people of concern were the ones who attended. There was about over 70 people that attended, and a motion was moved and ring was removed.
Can you tell us what led to this situation? Why did your group had to take this type of action at this point in time?
As I said before, the community was not pleased with Mr. Meyer, and also he was not involving sub-community leaders. One thing that any leader or chairperson should understand is if you want to lead your community, you need to work with the sub-community leaders, because we have a lot of sub-communities within our community, and it's only fair to engage with them individually and to build good relationship with them. But he refused to do so. And some other mismanagement of the office affairs. He breached a couple of sections within the Constitution. He fails to interpret legislation and also has abused his power, basically. Instead of working with the people, he wants to boss the people around. And one thing I know about South Sudanese, you can't come out of nowhere and boss us around. You have to work with us on the same level. And for that reason, concerned members, the 10%, which is in the Constitution, gathered and decided to oust him out.
Were all the members who voted on this motion financial members who are duly recognized as such by the
Of course
association?
they were. Of course they were. Yeah, they were financial members. As I said before, everything was done accordingly, and it was done for the best interest of the community. What has happened as well, I think Mr. Meyer failed to build good relationships with, other partners, etc. And it's just not a good image for the association. We need, someone with skills who's professional and who can, handle their temper to be able to constructively and properly engage with other people and come to an understanding and also learn to compromise with others. So these are some of the issues that we were dealing with.
Aren't you concerned that at a moment where there's quite a lot of issues and negative reporting on the South Sudanese community, this issue will not help really the community broadly?
To be honest, keeping someone of bad character in charge of leadership is not helping. And that's why a quick move had to be made. We handle our businesses internally. I highly doubt that it's going to cause public attention, because at the end of the day, this is our business, this is our association, and we can make decisions that suit the best interests of the entire community. Nobody was harmed during the process. No laws were broken. Nothing out of the ordinary occurred. This is a genuine simple everyday thing that can happen in other communities. I'm sure people will disagree. And depending on how far the breach has gone or how far the mishandling has been, people can make decisions, you know.
Don't you think that the perceived fragmentation of the community is likely to discourage other stakeholders from perhaps providing the right type of support that the community needs to address the issues you're facing?
I hope not, because it's not good to judge a book by its cover. What's really important is to get in there, engage with whoever it is that you're trying to understand, and then you can get a better picture of the entire situation. At the end of the day, everything is about relationship, and it's about building those relationships to create trust and, working ethics that can progress into the future.
Will you be willing to, I suppose, go into some sort of a conciliation process to get you guys together and work for the best interest of the community?
Well, in regards to the members, we are together. We might have disagreements or misunderstanding here and there, but it's just normal. People go through that all the time. But in regards to the leadership, the change that has been made is here to stay. Other supporters have been notified. Consumer Affairs has been notified. So I don't see any reason why this new interim team cannot take care of the association for the next 6 months.
In other words, you're not willing to somehow go into some sort of conciliation process, dispute resolution process that may bring you and the other group together again?
I don't understand what you mean by that, because the other group is not a part of, it's not going to be working in the association. And there's no other group. It's just three executives out of 10 executives. So I don't know what you mean by the other group.
What I mean, this thing took place only a few days ago. Before that, you were all together as part of one organization. Now you have your group on one side and the other, Ring Mayar and his supporters on the other side. Is there a way of bringing these two groups together like it was before this incident? That's what I mean.
But there was issues before this incident, and there's always going to be issues. It's just how it is. People, you have people you get along with, and then you have people that you don't socialize with. It's just human nature. Things are a little bit heated at the moment, but over time they'll get over it. And what's really important is for the new team to understand that what the community wants is, for us to do our best to gain their trust again and to defend them and to provide services and programs and projects that can benefit them. So that's my goal at the moment, to, attend and service to my community. That's my number one, my priority with my team. And also to unite our sub-communities by engaging with them and including them. That's what we're looking to do. And I think if we do that well, then things will calm down, because it's just heated right now, but eventually over time it'll get better. I don't see the problem.
And maybe another question before we finish. What do you respond to some of the critics, your critics, who may say you and your group did this just because you want power?
If I wanted power, I would have gone for chairperson role from the very beginning. The reason why I stepped back was because I don't know much about the association. I hear about it, but I've never worked for the association. And I didn't want to lead something that I didn't know much of. I wanted to gain experience first, and hopefully in the next election, I would go for chairperson. But I realized that the association was falling apart. Our people were being divided, and I just didn't like what was going on. So I had to step up. And when I was, elected to take this position, I did not reject it. A lot of other people rejected due to work reasons, etc., because this association has a lot to do with media, and some people, where they work, they cannot be engaged with the media. So a lot of them rejected for that reason, but they thought that I could be the best person, I guess, to do it, because I am young, and also I am a part of the association. We didn't want to go and pick somebody who's not, who hasn't been elected in March. So we made me and the General Secretary, who was Information Communication Officer, Noel Garang, we moved him up to the secretarial position, just to keep some of the office in there and to lead, because they know what happened from the very beginning. So so that's the reason why I guess we are here. And also, in regards to power, I don't think there's much power to gain, to be honest, because once again, it's a voluntary role. Like, I don't know what power you can get from a voluntary role. It's about, passion and having heart to lead people or to assist people. That's what it's about. If you want positions of power, you can go and work for a government agency or a government role that actually pays you. And then you can wander around and, pretend like you're all that, because you're getting paid for what you're doing. But this is a voluntary role that most people will not waste their time doing, because, first of all, the community that you're dealing with, could be tough to handle. Everyone has their own opinions. Everyone is different. And, sometimes it's hard to try and work with different people, but you just have to, I guess, compromise and get on the level. So it's got nothing to do with that. I couldn't care less about power. What I care about is helping my people and putting a good image out there, because a lot of it has happened in the media recently, and I want to put an end to that. And is having the right state of mind and the right heart for the position is what I need. Then I've already gained that. And throughout the time that I was youth affairs officer, I've gained enough experience to understand how the association is run and to know who our trusted bodies are and to know how to handle, the crisis that is going on. Hence why I'm here. So it doesn't really matter what critics say. People are going to say what they want to say, but I know what my objectives are. I know what my goals are. I know what my plans are, and that's what I'm going to focus on for the next 6 months. And if the community decides to keep me in, then I might go longer than that.
Maybe last question. Things happen in life, as in the community. Division happens. It's a fact of life. But there's always time maybe to fight or to disagree, and time to come back together again and perhaps work together. Would you be willing to, if Ring Maya's team is extending their hand to for some conciliation, would you be going for it?
We've attempted several times, to be honest, to mediate and to attempt to resolve our issues, but it hasn't gone anywhere. And at the moment, it's a really heated situation. I don't think if anybody reached out right now, I don't think it's with good intent. They might need some time to ease off. But at the end of the day, I don't have any issues with them. My plan was not to, revenge or avenge anybody. That wasn't my mindset. I had a different perspective as to why I accepted to lead as a caretaker. It's got nothing to do with Ring or his team. I highly respect them for the time that I've worked with them. They're highly capable people, and if I meet them tomorrow, I will just engage with them like nothing happened. But in regards to leadership and leading the community, I have some issues with that. As I said before, Ring and a couple of these executives have a problem with interpreting legislation, and the Constitution is there to guide us. The nomination form is there to help us, and if you fail to follow what was pre-written, then I highly doubt you will accomplish anything. And as I said before, a lot of community members are disagreeing and they're not happy with the leadership. So for that reason, we have to change and be where we are right now. But in regards to issues, I don't think I have any issues with them. I feel at ease that a better team is in office right now. I know they want to do right by the community, and I also know that they don't have self-interest, because the worst thing you can do is to come into something with self-interest.
Maybe just quickly before we finish, does your team have the required leadership and competency level to work the community through this critical period of time?
Yes, everyone does. Everyone does. I'll give you an example of the youth affairs officer right now. In her community, she was the youth officer for over 2 years, and she has experience, and now she's a new youth affairs officer in our office. And also the Secretary General was with the association since it began, when Cotman and Richard Deng were running it. And there's other, also the Treasurer as well was leading their youth community in his community. So basically all the people and the team that we have worked with their sub-communities, and they have experience, and they're capable of running this association in the best interest of the community. It's all about sitting down, setting goals, and planning things out, and just also helping each other out. So we might have a role in a position, however, we're capable of, reaching out to other executives amongst the office and just lending a helping hand.
Hopefully, the community crisis will be resolved, and the community will go through this.